of our brand new ATM along Highway 40, right next to Sonic Drive-In. Whether you're grabbing a snack or on the go, you can quickly access your cash without the detour. It's banking made easy, right where you need it. Farmers State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Today will be mostly sunny with south-southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Highs will be in the upper 90s to low 100s, and the heat index is below 105, so no heat advisory is expected. Isolated storms are possible in the late afternoon and evening west of Highway 25 and along the Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska borders. These storms could bring damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour and possibly some large hail. Lows will be in the upper 60s. Tomorrow, a cool front disturbance will move through in the evening and overnight with some scattered showers and storms. Marginal risk that one or two of those storms could be severe. Sunny, still warm with highs in the low to mid-90s and lows in the mid-60s. Thursday, continued chances for evening and overnight showers and storms due to another disturbance off the Rockies. Highs will be in the upper 80s to around 90, lows 60 to 65. And then Friday and early next week, a drier period is expected, potential heat advisory conditions. This is meteorologist Chris Romick in the WKS Radio Weather Center.
Wake up, sports fans. It's time to kickstart your day with the Morning Blitz and me, Ross Volkmer. Get the latest updates, in-depth analysis, and a few hot takes on everything from the preps to the pros. Whether you're driving to work or just getting your day started, I've got you covered with all the local sports talk you crave. So don't miss out. Tune in every weekday morning starting at 7 Mountain, 8 Central Time on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 to the Morning Blitz and join the conversation. Miss the show? No problem. Download and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
School is out. Summer meals are being served in Kansas communities at parks, pools, libraries, churches, and schools. Meals are free to all children 18 and younger with no enrollment needed. Find a nearby site by texting the word SUMMER to 914-342-7744 or by calling 1-866-348-6479. Let's keep Kansas kids powered up for summer fun and academic success.
Sponsored by the Kansas Appleseed and aired in cooperation with the station.
Your Cheyenne County Hospital in St. Francis offers you a quality rehabilitation department. This includes a variety of staff that provides physical therapy, occupational therapy, aquatic therapy, speech therapy, and women's health. To schedule an appointment, call 785-332-2104. Again, that's 785-332-2104. The Cheyenne County Hospital on 210 West Street in St. Francis.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pest Away in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover, back to Cure. Hello, boom! A two-handed tomahawk flush.
To the pros.
Shotgun snap to Nix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Earl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with the insurance agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. The pitch and the line drive up the middle. It's into center. It's a base hit. It will score a run. Moniak will score without a throw. RBI single for Hunter Goodman. Rockies able to tack on. 2-0 Colorado.
To give them a chance to rally. Now Kyle Manzardo clobbers it to deep right field. Gone! And the Guardians go ahead 6-5.
Salvi drills another one deep left center field to the bleachers and gone! A two-homer night at Wrigley for Salvador Perez.
The captain, he is scalding hot.
Superman hitting the ball in the air to center field. The starting pitcher hits a monster home run. He is out of this world. Shohei Ohtani, one of a kind.
And good Tuesday morning, everybody. Glad you're with us here on the Morning Blitz for this July the 22nd episode. No matter if you're tuning in on the Earl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, or YouTube, or, of course, on the good old-fashioned radio, Rocket 1025 and NWKSradio.net. Really appreciate you tuning in here on another hot July Tuesday. Temperatures, once again, going to be in the mid-90s today, maybe even in the triple digits in some parts. Going to reach those temperatures again tomorrow. And then maybe Thursday, a slight cool down where things might get a little bit more we're going to get a little bit more, let's see, a little bit more, how do I want to say this? Going to get a little bit more, let's see. I just got some message on my phone, so I'm distracted by this. Here we go. So it's just a little bit more cooler on Thursday. So anyway, we are glad that you are with us here on the Morning Master, which way you are tuning in to do so. We have got plenty of things to get to in today's program. We will have our good friend Nick Athen from Chiefs Blitz join us for the first time in a long time. He'll be stopping by in segment 2 to discuss. I mean, pretty much NFL training camps are getting underway, and so we'll talk to him about that. We'll talk about the two new deals for two Chiefs. We'll get to that coming up in today's program as well. Bill Self talked to the media with a little bit of an update throughout the summer. His thoughts on that for head coach Bill Self of the Kansas Jayhawks. And it's also Big Ten football media days today get underway in, of all places, Las Vegas. The Big Ten and Vegas. Doesn't exactly seem like the perfect marriage there, but that's where they are taking place. We'll have thoughts on a little bit on that coming up in the walk-off. So that's the lineup for today's show. As always, if you'd like to tune in or like to be a part of the program, we'd love to hear from you throughout the day on the F&B Bank text line at 785-899-2222. That is 785-899-2222, number part of the Morning Blitz here on this July the 22nd. As always, I said we were going to talk about this probably yesterday, and I know I said I would probably talk about it last Friday, but Bryce Kessler hung around for a while, which was fun to have him on the show. But we're going to talk Big 12 quarterback rankings. That is a very, very interesting stat line. We were talking about this with our good friend Dan Lucero yesterday, talking about, a couple of the biggest takeaways that he had. And he talked about how, the league needs to win. He's talked about things that we talked about, the league needs to win games in order to become a little bit more of a power player in college football. The Big 12 does. They need to win some games. They need to be a little bit more consistent in some areas. And honestly, he's exactly right when he sat there and said, where that kind of starts and begins? It's with quarterback play. And they need to have consistent quarterback play that's going to help you win some games. And when you look at what the Big 12 has coming back here this year in 2025, when it comes to football players at the quarterback position, I'm telling you, it is very, very impressive. And so a couple days last week, it was probably around Thursday of last week, the Big 12 conference was the final power conference that On3 decided to put out On3's Andy Staples, I should say, decided to put out his Big 12 quarterback rankings, ranking the Big 12, the top 10 Big 12 quarterbacks here coming into the 2025 season. This was Andy Staples' list, for those who did not see it. In the 10th spot was Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby. In the 9th spot, it's Brian Morton out of Texas Tech. In 8 is Caden Slater at Colorado. 7th best quarterback in the Big 12, Kansas's own Jalen Daniels. Then you have TCU's Josh Hoover coming in there at number 6. Rocco Becht sitting in there at number 5 from Iowa State. Sawyer Robertson at number 4 for Baylor. 3 is Devin Dampier, the transfer from New Mexico, moving up into the 3 spot for Utah, Devin Dampier. 2nd is Kansas State's own Avery Johnson, 2nd best quarterback in this year's rankings, according to Andy Staples. And then the top quarterback is the only one that played in a college football playoff game last year, and that would be Sam Leavitt of Arizona State for the Big 12 quarterback rankings. So once again, 1 through 10 this time. Sam Leavitt, Avery Johnson, Devin Dampier, Sawyer Robertson, Rocco Becht, 1 through 5. Josh Hoover of TCU, Jalen Daniels, Caden Slater, Colorado, Brian Morton of Texas Tech, Brendan Sorsby, 6 through 10. Those are the rankings there by our good friend Andy Staples of the On3 Sports Network. I don't have a ton of problem with this list, honestly. It all, once again, when you have lists and when you rank lists, they kind of all come down to what if you're based upon what they did last year, are they based upon, what you expect them to do this year? I would assume that's what this list is based upon. Sometimes it's kind of a mix of both. That's how I would say it is. It's kind of a mix of both. But I was kind of going through just the numbers. I decided to kind of go through and take a look at the numbers on, particularly passing numbers in the Big 12 from last year. And if you look at these stats, and if you want to look at these numbers, it is impressive. Who is back from last year in the Big 12? Yes, Shedeur Sanders was the top quarterback probably in the Big 12 statistically. And yes, he is gone. He completed 74% of his passes, which was almost 10 percentage points better than second place, if we're being honest. And threw for over 4,100 yards, which was the most in the Big 12. He had 37 touchdowns. That was the most in the Big 12 by almost 10. So, they threw the ball a ton. They put a lot of pressure on Shedeur, and he definitely shouldered it very, very well. And he was a very, very good quarterback with a 37 touchdown to 10 interception ratio for an efficiency of 168.2, which is very, very good. But then you go through and you look at the rest of this league and who is all back. So gone is Shedeur Sanders. Gone is Garrett Green at West Virginia. Gone is Alan Bowman of Oklahoma State. And then gone is Isaac Wilson of Utah. At least they are guys that we don't expect to be starters this year. But everybody else in the Big 12 at the quarterback spot is back. And ready to go. I guess you could take out Jake Ratzliff once again, that situation at BYU. He has decided to apparently transfer to Utah. But I was looking at this list here and was looking like, okay, so how would I rank them if I was going to be doing this? And to me, the biggest thing that I think when it comes to quarterbacks, yes, completion percentage is huge. It's a very, very big thing. But in today's game of football, particularly at the college and professional levels, it is about touchdowns. Can you put the ball in the end zone? We got to be able to score. And can you do that scoring of touchdowns without throwing an abundance of interceptions? I think that is a big thing as well. I think that is a very, very big thing, is that part. So I was kind of looking this up, And yes, you got to cross out Shadur Sanders on this list, but I'm telling you, I think honestly the best quarterback, and yes, Sam Leavitt was very, very good, but I think he had a lot of help because he had a great rushing attack in Cam Scadaboo and a great weapon behind him. And I don't know if that's obviously not going to be here this year. And so I honestly don't know if Sam Leavitt should be ranked number 1. I think honestly probably the best quarterback in the Big 12 based upon statistics and things of that sort is probably Baylor Sawyer Robertson. Last year, Robertson threw for over 3,000 yards, which wasn't as much, but he had 28 touchdowns to 8 picks. He's plus 20 in interception touchdown ratio. That was really, really good. When you only have 8 picks to 28 touchdowns, I mean, that is really, really impressive. I mean, he had the second most touchdowns of any quarterback in the Big 12 last year, and he had the tied for third least interceptions. The other guys, Sam Leavitt was good. 24 touchdowns. It's only 6 interceptions. He was great. But at the same time, I still feel like Arizona State's going to be lacking some key pieces. We'll see how that plays out this year. We just don't know. But, kind of after Sawyer, I think Sawyer Robertson's probably the best quarterback coming back in the league at this point in time. Avery Johnson has definitely got to be up there in the top 2 or 3. I mean, he had 25 touchdowns to just 10 picks. Now, there were some bad picks that happened in that BYU game that really set that season back for Kansas State. But, he also brings to the table almost 10 rushing touchdowns. Didn't have quite 10 last year, but almost 10 rushing touchdowns. So he's accounted for 35 scores, as of last year. I think he's probably up there as well. Rocco Becht has proven to be just a winner. 25 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Great ratio there. Josh Hoover, they throw the ball a ton down at TCU. 27 and 11, 27 touchdowns, 11 picks. Very good as well. Like I said, there is just a lot, and this is the truth. I mean, it was mentioned yesterday on the show with Dan Lucero. It's been said before in this program. The Big 12, I think probably this year is going to be the best quarterback conference in the country. I know the Big Ten is not going to be that. They've lost a lot of key guys, and there's a lot of question marks there. I don't think the ACC's in that boat. I mean, Cade Klubnik at Clemson's very good. Past that, I don't know. Probably the SEC and the Big 12 are vying for that. The SEC and the Big 12 are vying for who has the best quarterback league. You've got Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, Arch Manning, which we don't know about Arch Manning. There's a lot of pressure on Arch Manning, but we don't know. Everyone thinks he's going to be good, and he probably will be solid, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. Let's see. What else was I thinking here? In the SEC, there's some other really good quarterbacks. There's DJ Lagway and Sellers over at South Carolina. There's plenty of good quarterbacks in the SEC. We'll see. Some of these guys are a little bit, I think, unproven. In the SEC, we'll see, though. They really did have great years last year, like some of these Big 12 guys. I don't know. I think the Big 12, though, is probably right there neck and neck with the SEC when it comes to quarterback play. And when you have great quarterback play, which we've talked about on the show, is the most important position in all of sports, you have a chance to have some success. And there's a lot of teams in the Big 12 that have some really good quarterbacks coming into 2025, which means we could see quite a bit of success in the Big 12. Now, the problem is a lot of that, someone has to win and someone has to lose. And when you play each other, it results in, knocking each other off. We'll see if that happens again this year in the Big 12. I don't know. We'll see. I believe that Arizona State will take a step back. I think K-State will take a step forward. I think Kansas will take a step forward. I think Baylor might take a step forward. I think Iowa State's going to be there. We'll see. The other amazing thing about this, the Big 12 conference and the quarterbacks is, we've talked about, that we gave the top 10 from Andy Staples. There was one guy in there that was not a part of that, and that was Arizona's Noah Fifita, who really struggled in his first year underneath the Brent Brenham down there at Arizona. But Noah Fifita, in his freshman season, when he had Jed Fish, who was the head coach at up there at Washington. It's not Jed Fish. I'm trying to think of who the coach is at Washington, but nonetheless, whoever when they were in his, I think it's Jed Fish. But anyway, the coach up at Washington, when he was down at Arizona, Noah Fifita was considered one of the top couple of quarterbacks in the Big 12. after his freshman season. So if you go back a year prior and this list came out for Andy Staples, Noah Fifita would have been on it. No doubt about it. Probably would have been in the top 5, but he had a very rough year last year in comparison to his freshman season. So I don't know. I think when you look at this list from Andy Staples, there's not much that I would change. I think, honestly, there's a lot. The one thing that I would probably change the most is I would probably move Devin Dampier, who Utah quarterback, down a few slots just because we don't know. Devin Dampier, for those who don't know, for the Utah quarterback, is a transfer from the University of New Mexico. He was a phenomenal player last year at the University of New Mexico. He had a great I was going to look up his stats here real quick. His great sophomore season last year to Devin Dampier. Because he is a dual threat guy. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. He had 12 passing touchdowns, but he also had 12 picks last season. Now let's see here. I want to double check this. Make sure I'm right on this. I'm wrong on that. Let's see here. Those were the last 2 year stats. I was trying to see here. Let's see. Last year, passing the football, they didn't pass it very much. Only passed for 5. Let's see. Last year, they threw for over 2,700 yards. I was wrong on that. 12 touchdowns, but 12 picks. Not great there. But he did run for over 1,100 yards and 19 touchdowns. So, Kyle Whittingham, head coach at Utah, is a really, really good coach. And I'm sure he's going to find a way to put his team in the best position to win. But in previous years, I don't remember a lot of running quarterbacks for Utah. Devin Dampier, I guess not Devin Dampier, but prior to him, Cam Rising, not very mobile, but prior to them, they had some other guys that I think were decently mobile. So we'll see. I don't know, but he is no doubt statistically very, very impressive. I just don't know if that's going to translate to the Big 12 this year. That's one of my biggest things. So I guess if I'm ranking it, I have no problem with Avery Johnson, Sam Levitt. I think those two could probably interchangeable at 1 and 2. You drop down. I think Sawyer Robertson probably needs to move up into that top 3 at least. He could probably move up into the 2 or top spot. I think Rocco Beck needs to move up. He's been proven. Josh Daniels needs to move up. Even Jalen Daniels. I would actually move Devin Dampier all the way down to the 7 spot. Because at least I know that Jalen Daniels, Josh Hoover, Rocco Beck, Sawyer Robertson, Avery Johnson, Sam Levitt, those guys have played in the Big 12 Conference week in and week out, and we know what they have. Some of it's great, some of it's bad, some of it's good. We don't know what Devin Dampier is going to do. We don't know what he's going to do against the Big 12. Look, there's nothing against the Mountain West Conference. It's a solid conference, but I think it's no doubt going to be a step up in competition for Devin Dampier when he comes to the Big 12. And so I would probably move him down to probably the 7 spot, slide Daniels, Hoover, and Beck and Robertson up at least a spot or so, and then go from there. Caden Slater kind of in the same boat. That's where I'll leave him there at 8. He could be interchangeable with Dampier. We don't know. He was really great at Liberty. Will he be great at Colorado? We'll find out. Possibly. We don't know. Brian Morton is an interesting one. I figured he'd be a little bit higher. But he's kind of right there right now. In fact, I could see him actually moving up ahead of guys like Dampier and Slater because we know what he's done at Texas Tech. Last year, Morton was pretty darn good. Like I said, over 3,300 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, 8 picks. Almost, plus 19 in turnover margin. Really, really good for a Texas Tech team that's supposed to be loaded full of talent this year because of NIL money. I know. I think it's a fascinating conversation. And I think the biggest point to take away from this morning is that if you're a fan of a team in the Big 12 or in the Big 12 Conference, you're going to realize that this is going to be a really good year for quarterback play in the Big 12, one would think. The numbers line up from last year. Those are some impressive numbers for a lot of different guys that know what they're doing with the football and leading their teams to be successful. The question is, can the pieces around them help them? Can their defense give them some help? That's going to be a big thing too. But I do think that the Big 12 is probably, if not the best, top 2 in when it comes to conference rankings and quarterbacks. They beat the Big 10. They beat the ACC. And then you go stack them up against the SEC. I think they're probably close to neck and neck, particularly when it comes to the depth of quarterback play in the league. The Big 12 is going to be really good. So, like I said, I this list, I'm not going to complain with much. The biggest thing I would see is probably move Devin Dampier down and move a few guys up, particularly like Sawyer Robertson. I think has been fantastic. He's been one of the better quarterbacks. Avery Johnson is certainly a top 2 guy with his running ability and passing ability. So I don't know. I like a lot when it comes to what this list has to say, but at the same time, I can make a few minor changes. But I'll be fascinated to see what Devin Dampier at Utah does. I mean, like I said, Kyle Whittingham is a great coach, a really good coach. And I believe he's going to put his team in the best position to have success, playing great defense, maybe running the quarterback a little bit more than what we've seen out of Utah. And that could lead to a lot more wins for Utah after a very tough year in the Big 12 last year. But we'll see. Should be a very interesting year in the Big 12 when it comes to quarterbacks. And that's what you got to have. You got to have good quarterback play in order to win games. And if the Big 12 has a lot of good quarterbacks, they can win a lot of games. And hopefully that's going to gain the respect of the College Football Playoff Committee so they can get more than hopefully one team in the College Football Playoff bracket here coming up this winter. Okay, 7:28 Mountain Time, 8:28 Central Time. As always, FB Bank text line open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, would love to hear from you this morning. We will have some information from Bill Self coming up here in a little bit as he talked with the media after so we get to the end of summer workouts. We get some thoughts on that coming up in segment 3. But up next, our good friend Nick Athen is going to join the program. Look forward to visiting with him as NFL training camps get open around the country. That's next here on the Morning Blitz on this Tuesday.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams July summer sale and get 30% off paints and stains July 18th through the 28th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
When you work hard, make sure you have a service that works hard for you. With reliable coverage and the latest devices, you can go farther with Nextech Wireless. Right now, get an iPhone 16 Pro and an Apple Watch 10 on us. That's right, on us. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansans.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Tom Saluto with the Anderson Trade Group with your overnight market report on July 22nd. In the overnight session, September corn is down 3.5 at 4 even, D's down 4 at 4.18, and March down 4 at 4.35. August soybeans down 5.5 at 10.09, Sep soybeans down 3 at 10.07, and Nove soybeans down 2 at 10.23. Kansas City hard red winter wheat September was up 2.5 at 5.28, D's up 2 at 5.50, and March up 2 at 5.71. The Dow Jones is currently down 20 points at 44,527. S&P is up 4 points at 6,348. NASDAQ is up 7 points at 23,335. Gold is up 10 points at 3,417, and crude oil is slightly down at 66.52 a barrel. If you're out in the Colorado area and have any grain to market or risk management questions, please call John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or you can call the Overland Park office, myself, Tom Saluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000. Thank you.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Hey Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Daisy. And your purple service dog vest really pops against your shiny fur.
First day on the job for both of us. We've got this, right?
You bet. Dogs Inc. trained us well.
Ready to make a difference for our humans?
Born ready.
Discover how extraordinary guide and service dogs change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.com.
This season, armyworm better watch out. Because your wheat is protected by Lumavia CPL insecticide seed treatment with a unique mode of action that starts at the seed, then moves through the plant to protect it from roots to shoots. for strong stand establishment and better yield potential. Army worms, you're out of here. Learn more at corteva.us/lumavia CPL.
They say seeing is believing, and nothing catches the eye like the 9.5 bushel per acre yield advantage of Revitec fungicide over other fungicides. But don't just take our word for it. See it for yourself. Run a comparison of Revitec fungicide, enter the Real Results Yield Challenge, and experience the difference it makes in your fields. And when you share your experience with us, you'll get a chance to win a 2-year lease on a new truck. Sign up at yieldchallenge.basf.us. No purchase necessary. See official rules for details. Always read and follow label directions.
All the sports you love, all in one place.
This will come in handy.
This is the Morning Blitz.
Right at 7:33 Mountain, 8:33 Central Time on this Tuesday. Glad that you're with us. Quick programming note. I was not informed of this until right before the show started. Actually, the show is underway, but we are not actually live streaming on Facebook this morning because they've got live streaming going on at the fair, at the Thomas County Fair. So you'll have to switch over to YouTube or X in order to watch us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. And you're going to want to do that here in a second because Nick Athen's going to join us in just a moment. But before that, I did want to give a shout out to, I was out in a couple of area businesses here. I was over at Peterbilt of Goodland. I've been in Hoover's multiple times. I've been over at Advanced Auto Body in Goodland. I was out doing some sales stuff yesterday, and shout out to all those businesses. I go in there and I hear, whether it's Rocket 1025 on the air, I hear Hot Country 97 or Flyover Country 97.9. Got to get that right at some point in time. Flyover Country 97.9. So thank you for listening to your favorite NWKS radio stations. Really appreciate you tuning in. All right. As I said, going into break. And one more thing before we get out of this. Michael chiming in. FB Bank text line 785-899-2222. Back to our conversation about Big 12 quarterback play. Says Jalen Daniels going to surprise some people. I have higher expectations for Jalen Daniels, so I don't expect to. I expect him to go out there and be really, really good and be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. That's what I expect from him. I have high expectations for Jalen Daniels. All right, let's go to the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, and there you'll find our good friend Nick Athen, who joins us now. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today?
Good, Ross. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Is that blood getting pumping for you?
I got my red shirt, got my Lenny Dawson shirt on today. I'm ready to go. Training camp begins in earnest today. Chiefs will have a practice, I believe, this morning, and it'll be basically some drills, a walkthrough, maybe a little 7-on-7, maybe a little 11-on-11, but they won't be in pads for a few days. Andy likes to get them a little adjusted to the
lathered up.
To the experience of the 100-degree heat before these guys start shedding weight like crazy.
Where does this year, it's been multiple years now that we've seen the Chiefs can have continued success.
Right.
And I'm just kind of curious, does that excitement, is it grown this year? Is it about the same? Is it a little subdued? It's been so many years of consecutive success for the Chiefs. I mean, what does this next year feel like to you?
I think this is going to be a really special year for the Chiefs. I think that they've learned from their embarrassing Super Bowl loss. You can give it your all, but when you have to really give that extra oomph, I thought they probably all thought they were going to just kick it in and they were going to have a great comeback, and then it just imploded. And it's going to be interesting when the ESPN series comes out, which I believe debuts on August 14th or 15th, where they get really behind the scenes. And I saw some clips today, and I was a little surprised at how emotional these guys were. Not that they didn't take the loss seriously, not that they weren't upset, but how much of the core of their souls that this loss affected them by. So with all that said, I'm excited about this roster. I'm excited about this team. I think this is the best roster on paper. They haven't put pads on. They haven't played any games yet together. This is the best roster that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have had in their careers. And I'm going all the way back to Philadelphia. I think they have virtually no question marks. Yes, we don't know if Josh Simmons is going to be the starting left tackle. I think he'll end up being the starting left tackle. I think they had a great draft class. They're obviously signing their free agents. They're having an incredible offseason. And I think this team is going to show fans and show the rest of the league, You had your laugh last year. You beat us down, all the pressure. You threw up all over us. You said we were fakes and frauds. You said we couldn't do it. They still went to 3 consecutive Super Bowls. They won 2 of them. Now, Buffalo would take that. Cincinnati would take that. Baltimore would take that. Any franchise would take that. But guess what? They're not the Chiefs. So to answer your question is, I go rambling. This is going to be, I think, the best year of Patrick Mahomes' career. And I think the Chiefs are going to show the rest of the league, guess what? We're not going anywhere.
You mentioned it's the best team that you think Mahomes and Reed have had. What gives you that feeling that that is the best? Is it just some offseason signings or just the way they've constructed the roster? What makes you feel like, they've had some pretty good teams.
Sure.
Obviously because they play, like you said, for these many consecutive Super Bowls.
Right.
But why this year? What is that difference?
Well, I'll break it down. I think offensively, I love this wide receiver room. You got Xavier Worthy, who really was the go-to guy in the second half of the season and in the postseason. Rashee Rice, after his suspension, we have no idea how long it's going to be, is going to play a full season. Hollywood Brown is back. You got a veteran in Juju Smith-Schuster, who's basically the coach of the wide receiver group. Tyquan Thornton's a guy that I think could potentially impact this team. I just love the way they have speed. They've got possession receivers. They've got veteran. And then, of course, you've got, Travis Kelce. At the running back position, I'm telling you right now, Brashard Smith, when he adjusts to the NFL game and the NFL speed and shows that some of the skills he had at SMU is going to be really great for this offense. And then you look at the offensive line. I love Josh Simmons, top 10 pick. They spooked every other NFL team. The Chiefs and Simmons in his camp played this absolutely perfectly to where the Chiefs didn't have to basically trade up to get him. He's going to be a Trent Williams kind of tackle. So I'm excited about that. I like the way the offensive line is constructed. I like the fact they signed Trey Smith long-term. They got Creed Humphrey long-term. This is probably the last year of Jawan Taylor, even if he even starts this year, which is a question mark. So I think if you look at the offense, it's got playmakers everywhere. On defense, I think that with Chris Jones, Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, Chamari Connor, who I think is going to go back into the kind of role he had a couple of years ago, Jaden Hicks, Drew Tranquil, Nick Bolton, they've just got guys at every position that know how to play football. And even though I think the Broncos are the best defense in this division, I think the Chiefs are, maybe a notch below that, for overall success this year and potential. And of course, special teams, they've got a great punter, they've got a great kicker, and they've got a great philosophy. So you just look at this team in totality, and I try to be objective. I think if you just break it down and you compare this key fact, if the Chiefs, who's going to beat the Chiefs? Is it the Ravens? Is it the Bengals? Is it the Broncos? And I look at all the rosters of all those teams, and they've made some nice additions, especially in the AFC West. But I didn't see anything that said, okay, I got to worry about this. I got to worry about that team. The Chiefs are still the team to beat until somebody beats them in the AFC Championship game. Somebody who, maybe beats them before they get to the AFC Championship game. I just don't see it this year. I don't think the AFC is improved enough to where, this team is not going to have success. And again, the totality of it all, you look at the roster, you look at all the rosters in the AFC, and the Chiefs is still the best roster.
Nick Athen, once again, our guest from ChiefsBlitz.com, joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. I think the one area that fascinates me, they have the talent there. The question is, can they stay healthy and can they all play on the field together? But that'd be the wide receiver.
Yeah.
They no doubt have the talent and pieces, but can they play on the field at the same time? And how do they look when they are on the field at the same time?
Yeah. We saw last training camp with Hollywood Brown, how great he looked. He was phenomenal. Xavier Worthy made plays right away. Rashee Rice made plays right away. I love this group. I think they have everything in place to be successful. Juju Smith-Schuster, like I said, he's the coach. Tyquan Thornton, Elijah Badger, an undrafted free agent, could be really, really good, for this offense. And you look at Jalen Royals, who they got is kind of like that next Rashee Rice. So if you take what you have in the veteran aspect of it, you have guys who know how to get open, guys who have speed, guys that can play in the slot. You have guys that can do crossing patterns. It's a matter of, it's not going to be, is there enough footballs? It's going to be how well these players execute it. But this wide receiver group, I'll put it up against anybody in the NFL, even if Rashee Rice is out for 4 weeks. Once he's back, you look at the talent and the potential, and who's going to defend them. You put Rashee Rice, you put Travis Kelce, you put Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, just those 4 alone, and then you sprinkle in Noah Williams and in Royals, and then you said, okay, well, what's Juju going to do? Juju may only have 450 yards receiving, but he's going to make some big plays. So who do you cover? And then we're not even talking about what you're going to get out of the backfield. So I'm excited about this group. This is the best wide receiver group that Patrick Mahomes has ever had, and certainly Andy Reid.
Nick Athen, once again, our guest here on the Morning Blitz from ChiefsBlitz.com. You mentioned it a little bit ago, but the big news for the Chiefs here recently has been the signing of Trey Smith, keeping him there on the offensive line, and most recently George Karlaftis getting a new deal as well. How do you feel like the Chiefs came out on those ends when it came to paying those guys and getting them for the price that they got?
Well, I think first with Trey Smith, it was going to be a difficult negotiation because he is arguably one of the top 2 guards in the National Football League. And, you look at a former 6th-round pick, guy slid because of some heart issues, and Chiefs went through all the medicals. He wanted to remain in Kansas City, and so they got a really good deal that I think is it's cap friendly to a point, but they're paying him some serious money. And I'm impressed with the way they were able to get the deal done in the time frame that they were, kind of 0 hour. With George Karlaftis, it's a little different story. The situation with the contract with Karlaftis is Karlaftis told his agents, listen, I want to stay in Kansas City. So whatever it takes, I'm willing to take a team-friendly deal if it secures my future with the organization. So he got signed through 2030. Trey Smith through 2029. Ironically, that's the year that Andy Reid's contract is up. But the way they structured this deal was really brilliant. He's going to keep the same cap number this year and next year, and the 4-year extension kicks in 2027. And, it's $63 million guaranteed. $30 million of that is going to cover the first 2 years of the deal in case he has any kind of serious injury, and so an injury settlement. Once he hits that 3rd year, it's going to be fully guaranteed. So this spreads out about a $17 million, $17.5 million cap hit going forward. That's an underprice for pass rushers who can get, 10, 12 sacks a year, can be a disruptor on defense. And you just can't find good pass rushers in the NFL. So I think with Karlaftis, it was the perfect marriage, and then it's going to be up to now, what are they going to do with Trent McDuffie? Are they going to be able to get a deal done with him? If you'd had asked me last week, I would have said not a chance. And now I'm a lot more optimistic. The way they structured the Karlaftis deal, they could do something very similar. And I think Trent would be very happy. He also wants to stay in Kansas City. And that goes to the culture that, these guys, Clark Hunt and Andy Reid and Brett Veach have put together.
We've talked all sunshine and rainbows to this point in time. Is there any inkling of a black eye that, maybe a bit of concern here as we get set for training camp, and what question marks need to be answered?
I think, obviously we're going to look at the offensive line. Can Kingsley Suamataia, be that guy? Can he step up to guard? Now, I think he's better suited to play guard. I thought against the Broncos in his one game, he played pretty well, going against the starters for the first half. I think a guy like Hunter Norzad could come out of nowhere and also be a guard for this Chiefs. But I think it all rests on when is Williams going to be ready to go? If he's everything that I've been told, and he's cleared for camp. He's a full go for a guy that had a patella tendon issue, had surgery, worked his tail off in the rehab process, showed a lot of positive signs in the OTAs and the minicamp, and stayed in Kansas City the entire gap between mini camp and training camp to work with the trainers and to work with the staff. That tells me a lot about this young man and how they feel about him. So if Josh Simmons is the left tackle we all believe he can be, give or take 3 or 4 or 5, 6 games to get adjusted to the NFL level, and Kingsley Suamataia can step up, then I'm really optimistic about this offense. But if that doesn't happen, then the Chiefs have to decide who are the best 5 offensive linemen. And they're going to have to put them out there, kind of like what they had to do last year with Joe Thuney. And it worked to a point until they got to the Super Bowl, and they just were overwhelmed. So I think the big issue is going to be the offensive line. It's the only real, okay, this is a gotcha thing. This could be a problem. Patrick Mahomes cannot run for his life anymore. He's took a beating the last 2-3 years and still won 2 Super Bowls with a roster that wasn't all that good offensively. So that's my biggest concern, is the left side of the offensive line.
And that's a very, very important one. So.
It's pretty big in the NFL.
That's very important.
Got to have that.
Yeah. Nick Athen, can you join us? We'll get you out of here on this. Okay. You know, we're past the midway point of the season for the Kansas City Royals. I know it's kind of been a bit of a downer to this point in time. Now, last night, an exciting, blowout of the Cubs. But, I mean, where do you stand on the Royals? We're getting close to that trade deadline. Where do you stand on KC at this point in time?
Well, I think the Royals are they're in a very difficult situation. I think John Sherman, who I have a lot of respect for, I think has kind of thought that, by not spending more money in the offseason, especially to find a bat, maybe make a deal, there we go, to get some more offense. I think that was a big problem. I think the Royals are caught up between the present and the future. And I'm going to kind of switch the gear here a little bit. The stadium issue is a problem for the Royals because they don't know where they're going, and the Chiefs can't make a decision. The Chiefs are pissed. And so when you look on the field, do I want to keep the momentum going to try and make the playoffs this year? Or do I rebuild, retool, and how does that affect the stadium thing? They're all tied together. The stadium situation is a mess. The roster is a mess. I'm not a big fan of Matt Quatraro. I don't think he's the right guy to take him to that next level because he had so much talent to work with, and they can't get it done. They've got 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 hitting coaches, and they all suck. So, if you're going to look at this logically, you trade Seth Lugo and get as much as you can. You trade Michael Garcia and get as much as you can. You bring up Carter Jensen and just make him the DH in the future catcher. I mean, there's so many things they could do, but you sell, retool, rebuild, because in my opinion, going forward, they have a catcher, they have a first baseman, they have a right fielder, and they have a shortstop. That's it. That's all they have. I think John Rave's a nice player, could probably play one of the outfields. So the future is you got 4 guys that are solid. And Perez, I mean, he's just a freak. He's just a freak of nature. The home runs and the play he made last night, with that throwing that strike to first base. It's incredible. So to answer your question, it's a disappointing year. I don't think they're going to be a wild card team this year. Watch them go sweep the Cubs, and then they're going to think, okay, they're in it. They'll only be a game or 2 back of 500. But the Tigers are at such an elite level, while the rest of the division kind of sucks like the Royals do at the moment. So I personally, if I was JJ Picola, I would sell, build up a really good farm system that they have right now. They've got players at AAA, they got players at AA, they got some great players at A-ball, and just keep building it. And then take a look at where you are in the offseason. Maybe take some of that talent they've acquired and maybe save it for a future trade. But this team's going to have to spend a lot more money and be a lot more creative to be successful against what I think the Tigers are special. I know they haven't played well in the last week or so, before the All-Star break. And I know that, you can't be at that pace forever. But man, their youth is strong. Their young players on that roster are what the Royals had hoped they'd be for their roster. And they're not plugging in guys that are AA players or AAA players in a big league roster. These guys are big league ready, And the Royals just don't have enough big league ready, in my opinion.
We'll see. I'd say this trade deadline, ever since they've expanded the playoffs, just becomes more and more fascinating. For the simple fact that you just don't know. You don't know. Are you going to sell? Are you going to keep going? Because there's a lot of teams within striking distance. Yeah. But are you going to play the game, or are you going to say, well, let's play for the long
What do you give up? I mean, if you're going to be a buyer, do you give up, a Carter Jensen to get a big league bat for maybe a one-game winner-take-all wild card game? I mean, it's just not worth it to me.
The Royals are in a spot, like you said, where I don't think they're in a spot where they don't have a lot to sell. And so what are you going to get for it? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's Seth Lugo, it's Miguel Garcia, and that's probably it on the big league roster. Now Hunter Estevez is reportedly could end up being with the Yankees. They're pretty high on him, even though he's blown a few saves here. I think the Royals signed him to trade him, to be perfectly honest with you. Then to get his salary off the book. Hunter Harvey should be back. I don't know what's going on with Urseg, man. He's been screwed up for a couple of months now, and they have to get him back on track too. He could ultimately be the closer if he gets his act together. But again, Hunter Harvey's coming back in probably about a week. So I think you're going to hear a lot more rumors about Estevez being traded. So trade, sell. Don't give up your prospects right now.
Nick Athen, ChiefsBlitz.com. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it, my friend. Have a great rest of the week. We'll catch up soon.
All right. Take care, Ross. Appreciate you.
Once again, great stuff there from Nick Athen here on the Morning Blitz. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show with some little bit of KU talk, and also, of course, Big Ten Football Media Day is getting going today in Vegas. That's next here on the Blitz.
It's officially county fair season. Text the word FAIR to 785-460-0790 to get a list of all the county fairs and their dates. Fairs are always looking for volunteers, so contact your local carnival or fair board today to volunteer. Sponsors are Oakley Country Club, Smoky Hill Ag, Colby Automotive, F&B Bank, Lohr Electric, Hoover Lumber, Vince's GM Center, Donnell & Jewelry, Farmers & Merchants Bank, Next Tech Wireless, and Buffalo Park Bar and Grill. We hope to see you at the county fairs this summer.
Big deals are rolling at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Drive off in the 25 GMC Sierra 1500 with $3,750 purchase allowance or 0% APR for 36 months and no payments for 90 days. Upgrade to the Sierra 1500 Denali and get up to $5,750 off or 0% for 36 months. Or go big with the Sierra 3500 Pro. $2,750 off or 3.9% for 48 months. Don't wait. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland today or shop online at hurlchev.com.
Summer is heating up, and Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby has everything you need to make the most of it. Tame that lawn with top-notch weed and feed from Ultimate Fertilizer, and keep those bugs away with powerful pesticides. Plus, Ego mower blowers and trimmers to get that job done fast. Fire up some summer flavor with a Traeger grill or a Blackstone griddle, and if you're building a fence or even fixing a sprinkler, they've got the building materials and supplies to keep your projects moving. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, your summer project headquarters.
At FNB Bank, we know family comes first. Whether you're opening a savings account for your kids, buying a new home, or planning for the future, we're here to help every step of the way. With personalized service and flexible options, we make banking easy for your growing family. FNB Bank, serving families, strengthening communities. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
All right, got a couple minutes left to go here in the show today. Thanks again to Nick Athen for joining the program. Really appreciate him hopping on. And, of course, if you're missing the show, you can go back and check out the podcast or back on the video stream on YouTube if you'd like to watch the show again. Talk Big 12 quarterbacks early on. I did get a text when Nick Athen was on from our great listener, Andy, who was saying something about Jalen Daniels. This KU fans say it every year. Daniels isn't changing. He won't have many weapons this year. That is a good point. I mean, he won't have the offensive weapons on the outside are definitely unproven, and there's no Devin Neal in the backfield.
So we'll see. Going to be a lot more pressure put on him. I know. I felt like if he can just keep the turnovers down, he could be really good. And, they got to go back to kind of that offense where they ran the option with him. He was way more effective as he was using more of a runner than he was as a passer. And I don't know if they'll do that or not. We'll see. Okay. Speaking of KU, news surrounding, not news, I should say, but it's always interesting. You kind of get to the end of the summer months and KU basketball wrapping up their summer workouts, and Coach Bill Self spoke with some media and gave a little report. They're talking about getting healthier. An update there. Elmarco Jackson and Bryson Tiller, both who were out last year with injuries, are back in live practices, progressing well, according to Coach Self. They also added, of course, some transfers we've talked about before in Paul Mbaya and Cole Rosario. Signed him, and boy, Rosario gets a lot of love. Self loves him. He loves his energy he plays with defensively, loves his shooting ability, talks about how he's going to steal them a couple possessions. I'd say Cole Rosario could be a huge part for this KU team going forward, but they love Cole Rosario. They've talked about him a lot. And Self still said they're still in the market for adding. They got 15 guys, 12 on scholarship. They're still looking to add possibly a veteran point guard for some insurance. We'll see where they go with that. There's a Division II guy they're looking at. There's another guy, I forget, and he's got a really hard name to say, but they're looking at a couple of guys when it comes to the point guard spot, possibly to fill that out. But Self, in the way the Bill Self said, quote, "We got exactly what we set out to do," is how that quote is the quote that he gave out yesterday. That by that they mean, I think he knew the last couple of years have kind of been a little bit disappointing, particularly last year. And, getting bringing all these portal guys and just not playing together. This year, they went out and they've retooled the roster with some great young talent. And I think Bill feels better about where he sits going into this 25-26 basketball season than maybe he did, at the end of last year. I think, like I said, he set out to do exactly what he meant to do, and they did it. So we'll see how it all pans out when it gets to the time of the season. But I don't know. Bill Self feeling pretty good about how the summer has gone to this point in time. All right, let's get to the walk-off.
Deep left. Grand slam. And back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Grady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Real quick update in baseball. Yesterday, Royals beat the Cubs 12-4. 2 home runs from Salvador Perez and 4 RBIs. Game 2 of that series is tonight, 7:05 Central on KXXX. Rockies, well, they dropped their series opener to the Cardinals Monday night, 6-2 at Coors Field. Rockies took an early 2-0 lead, held scoreless the rest of the way. Game 2 of that series against the Cards tonight in Denver, 6:40 Mountain Time on KLOE. Well, it's more talking season continues in Las Vegas today. Big Ten football media days get underway in Vegas. So weird to see the Big Ten in Vegas, but whatever. Nebraska, for my fellow Husker fans out there, picked to finish 8th out of 18 teams in the conference's preseason poll. They don't do a preseason poll, but they do the Cleveland Plain Dealer puts out one. Nebraska picked to finish in 8th. We'll see what they talk about today. It's been a very quiet summer there in Lincoln, and I hope it just kind of stays that way. I hope it's all kind of vanilla, jargon, typical, canned answers all through media days. Nothing too exciting, nothing too crazy. And let's just get to August 28th against Cincinnati there at Arrowhead and prove it on the field. That's what I hope to see. That's what I want to see. So hopefully no one gets out of line. Dylan Raiola, Deshaun Singleton, and Henry Latufsky, the representatives, along with Matt Rule for Nebraska at Big Ten Football Media Days. They get going today. I think Coach Rule speaks at 1:30 Mountain, 2:30 Central Time, more than likely on BTN. All right, that'll do it for the program. Thanks to Nick Athen. Thanks to you as well for tuning in on this Tuesday. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours. Hope you join us. It's been the Blitz.
Classic rock plays here. This is Rocket 102.5, KKCI, Goodland, Burlington, Colby, and online.